At that price, service companies are going to give it away. All the information is in the cloud. So when you leave it on the beach and go swimming, you won't care about it. You'll actually go swimming and leave it there. And when it's stolen, and eventually people stop stealing it because they've all got one, you'll go and buy another one from the ice cream brand. Yeah, that's the nature of technology. It's where we're headed, with very powerful end-user devices at almost no price. And what's going to happen then with the uptake and the use of information? And there is no barrier in terms of price. So we end up with sort of 22 billion connected devices in the world within a decade, all churning out information about society and the weather even. In many cases, there's lots of tools that our adults' telephones now are being developed, including heart blood pressure, heart problems, biometrics. There's even a telescope you can add to a smartphone now to actually do blood testing on a smear of blood. So you can have personalised testing from a smartphone, which is sufficient quality to identify cancer cells in the blood. So remote devices doing amazing things. And these devices are also allow us to be medically more under the oversight of our physicians so that we can live longer. And if we ever got our health industry, our health insurance industry, and our life insurance industry to sell joint products, they would finally have their interests aligned with ours. Because the health industry want you to die once you're unwell, and the life industry want you to stay eternally alive. So if we ever had a blended product, which by the way almost don't exist anywhere, you'd actually have a life insurance company with health insurance who actually wants you to live forever, probably. And the downside if you get it wrong is you get money anyway because they're providing a life cover. So small changes in the model, and obviously a lot of that's driven by these needs. Anyway, let's start with that. Okay, there's so much to talk about all these things. There just isn't time to have a crack at any of these things, is it? We're just at the tip of the iceberg in every one of these areas. Of course, we know we're not going to have keyboards for much longer, probably another 20 years, because technology persists for quite a long time. But increasingly we'll talk to our technology, we'll look at our technology, it'll recognise our eye movement, our expression. The military use soundless speaking, which will be good news in departure lounges and airports, that people won't have to actually use air going past their vocal cords. They'll be able to mouth the words like they use on covert operations in the military, and they can pick up the meaning from that on the telephone, turning to text or turning to voice for someone on the other end. So there's all sorts of really interesting technologies. This means we'll interact with technology in a very different way, and of course ultimately it disappears anyway. Then we'll use things like avatars, which are using knowledge bases and artificial intelligence to have meaningful interaction with customers on a 24/7 basis. The camera spots what's happening with your customer or contact. It could be delivering service agent sort of information or engineering support, doesn't matter. You can then blend the cult of celebrity. So this is Duffy, and your customers might then spend hours on the phone chatting about endless nausea, but you might pick up some interesting tips and clues as to what their preferences and lifestyle preferences are, which is much more useful than using databases of what people did in the past to predict their future behaviour. Why don't you just get to a position where they'll actually tell you what they want because they quite like the conversation. This is something we've stopped trying to do. And ultimately, of course, that becomes visual by being 3D and holographic, and that's only a few years away now. IBM are predicting this, and by 2020 it's haptic, which means that 3D hologram feels like a real person. You can touch the 3D hologram and it feels real. And already you've probably seen 3D colour interactive holograms that you can play around with now. And if you haven't, go on YouTube and have a look at some examples. Quite amazing what you can do now with 3D colour interactive holograms. So we're near the end of everything, you'll be pleased to know. Not quite at the end. Well, now I've talked a bit more than ever, haven't I? Are you right? Are you guys all right? You're the ones who matter most. I won't keep you away from wine canopies much longer. I promise. I'll do, I promise. Okay, 3D virtual reality. We're going to love virtuality. So unless you're already understanding to a degree what immersive 3D worlds are, then at some point that will become a problem. I'm not suggesting today it puts you at a huge disadvantage, but this is going to be the new email of the future, without a shadow of a doubt. In these virtual worlds, people are finding each other, they're producing new products and services, they're forming new business alliances. There's $20 million in one of these worlds alone of transacted business every day. People are building whole service propositions. Cisco will walk you through the new network in a virtual world, past the roof, past the hub, you can walk around it. School kids in some parts of the world go on day trips in the classroom, in virtuality, to places like where Vesuvius went up and Herculaneum and all the mud flowed, and the kids can actually be there the day it happened. And how much more are you going to remember a lesson like that than just being told it or shown a video. You can actually be there and you understand what a calendarium is and a tepidarium and how the layouts of the amphora were and how the corner stores worked, and what the culture was like, and there was colouring on the walls. It wasn't all white, but we think it was. All of that comes to you because you're walking around and you're in those virtual worlds. And half of schools in the United States in the senior schools is predicted to be virtual in some extent by 2020, one more decade. Half of all schools in high schools will be virtual. Big, big difference. So we need to understand virtuality. These kids will start coming out, they'll start expecting to engage with clients and customers and advisors and providers in those worlds. And we need to just get a bit of a grip on what it is. So, that's now out of the way. And finally, something on technology. The virtual worlds start blending with the real world. As you know, in London, there's apps now that you can lift your phone up and look around at these price of square footage of real estate that's available for lease in London. So that's quite a useful tool. If you give it to the kids, they'll pick it up and look around for the cheapest pint of beer. And they can do that. It can either be 200 yards away or it can be in Tokyo as it passes through. So you have lots of distance issues to deal with. And finally, you've got things like this. This is somebody going down a slide in a water theme park with a wristband that's being programmed into their Facebook account. And when they click it against this board, in real time updates their Facebook status that they like this water park and this ride. And the question to ask yourself is, how easy is it for your clients or customers when they've had a great experience to update their status of liking you? Not necessarily on Facebook, it could be anywhere, couldn't it? How easy do you make people to say nice things about you? And this is the clue. That's the rate at which you should be doing it. Like it, instantly feedback. Instantly give the opportunity for people to give you positive feedback. And here's our hologram, the one on the right is the hologram, doesn't have any feet, that's the clue. So he's a colour hologram, he's a real person. This is a real robot. She's available at $5,000 US to hire a week, so $250,000 to buy outright, speaks 4 languages, facial recognition, etc. She doesn't walk at all, as it happens. That's Android 1. You can have Shakira 2, which I made up, but you could. There's no reason why not, or you could have Clooney 1. So, you know, we're short of people, we're short of kids, we're short of labour force. It's another form of technology, and undoubtedly we're going to use it, and we are going to use it, and already we're using it. And of course, these are destined towards care for the elderly, in particular in certain societies where the indigenous youthful population doesn't want to do it, and the state needs to provide help. So, that's a little bit about technology, and I'm going to spend just 2 minutes. Have I got 2 minutes? You say no. Okay. Just to what can we do a little bit about this? Is that all right? So this is just the morning, this is going to take a big part. Okay, look, these leaders did not have a fully fledged plan of what needed to happen to fulfill their vision. And very often we have a plan to create a vision. We have a plan to create a strategy. We get a team together. What we need is visionaries, and we need a vision. Yeah? You are probably then given these are your organisation. So they have an idea of what they want to do in life and what they want to change, and they don't know how to do it, and they want people to perform around that vision and do the things that are necessary to put it into place in a practical and enforceable way. But they've got the vision, they can impart that vision. So we would call it in our world the entrepreneurs of the business, thinking in those terms. So looking at this very quickly, I'm sorry to suddenly go to some model with you, but at purpose level of any organisation is the vision. The real vision. It may be supported by a vision statement, but this I'm talking about the real vision of your organisation, of where you're going to be in the future. And invariably, it is a place that you are today. It's somewhere different. It's either more of something, or it's a different type of business, or you'll network with more people, or it's a different products and service offering, or the margin's different, but it's always different. That's the nature of a vision. And that needs to be informed, as I mentioned before, by foresight. My definition of foresight is lots of insights, which is just stuff you're hearing, and you making your mind up on what's important. And then using that to rely on supporting your vision. And following and tracking those things and adding new things and taking things out as they become relevant or not. And then ultimately maybe informing a new vision. So knowing that your vision is undergirded by your own thoughtful consideration of what's changing means at least you know when things are changing the other direction. You're on top of understanding your vision is not just a brilliant idea, but it's a brilliant idea undergirded by trends and change that you've been able to sort of foresee in some fashion and track. And then you get down to the sort of application of resources and time and attention and all those sort of things, then strategy, and then operational, what capabilities and people, etc. do we have. And what I want to say is that look, this is all about today. We tend to talk mostly about our capabilities. That's what we spend a lot of our time talking about in the organisation. Over here is the new world, the new behaviours that we want to achieve for tomorrow. And our leaders tend to take us forward by behaviours and a few other things, of course. And ultimately, the future is about the vision that we hold, about where we're going and where we're going to be, and the sunlit uplands of success that sound fantastic when you espouse it to the market, and the analysts, and your staff, and your customers, and your suppliers, and they buy into that and want to go on that journey with you. So, if I just turn that around to the individual, and you'll be pleased to know this is the last slide. I feel the need to give you hope. Yeah? If we just change it to the individual and change the labels, we leave the same things in place. And what we say is, look, this is the world of the manager. And there's nothing wrong with being a manager. It's a brilliant role in an organisation. It's about driving out value. It's what the organisation is ultimately for. Terrific. All of that, the manager. Second thing is, the behaviour, as I mentioned before, is all about leadership and leading folk into the new sunlit uplands. The people who can actually understand the entrepreneur's wacky vision and turn it into language that folks on the ground floor can understand and interpret. So these are great interpreters of the vision of the future into practical, manageable ways of implementing it in the company over time to achieve those goals. That, to me, at least, is a very crude and quick definition of the leader. Ultimately, the visionary who could care less about what's happening down here, which is often why they find it very hard to talk to each other, both directions, is thinking about where he's going, where he or she wants to take the company, and what it wants to be in the future. And what we did was we found a way of mapping that across people, and there's a URL here called elm.nextvisioningip.com. I'm terribly sorry about the name, but that's just what it ended up being. elm.nextvisioning.com. If you go there, you can take the short profile online and find out what you want. And if you want, I'll let you use it as well, because this is the back door where there's no fee. You can use it with your team or people in your organisation to have a debate about who are the people, or the entrepreneurs, the leaders and the managers. Because one of the things we've worked out over the last 2, 3, 5 years of doing this work is the biggest barrier to considering some of these crazy things I've been talking about tonight is sometimes what's in our head attitudinally towards how radical change can really be. And if we sometimes have people in our organisation that are entrepreneurially spirited and attitudinally minded and let them loose on thinking about it, they're not incredibly productive. But if you put a bunch of managers in the room to think about the future, it often sounds like disruption and breaking of systems and a reduction of efficiency and effectiveness. So we need to think about who do we get involved in this process, and everybody has got a say in innovation at different stages of the process, but not all necessarily right up front, and certainly not all necessarily further downstream. So understanding who we are, our attitude, is vital to understanding how we can cope with all these things I've been hurling at you for about the last 4.5 hours. Probably feels like, doesn't it? So, there we are. What can we do? We find our vision, find out who those people are, the entrepreneur leader and managers, develop your own foresight based on your own wisdom of thinking about these insights, and camp on that ground until you've exhausted its potential. So thank you very much.
The store of exchange of value. Is the nature of money going to change?
Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. If you talk to people like Bernard Lietard, who's one of the designers of the euro, already we've got alternative currencies which pass the test of money. We've got Facebook with its own currency, charging 30% margin, 160,000 retailers, expected to make billions and billions of dollars. Already economists are saying money supply and money turnover in economies can't be the only measure anymore of economic activity, because we've got money churning in private systems. So money is already changing. Alternate currencies in every one of the states in the United States and in Japan are now, by and large, tax-free, because they're being used for the care of the elderly. So the transfer of currencies to get your parents' lawn cut on the other part of the world is happening, and they're tax-free, they're storable, they're transferable for goods and services, and therefore they pass the test of money. So you're quite right, money is going to change dramatically. No, this is the third time it's ever changed. It originally some beads and notes, and then digital, when money completely disappeared really. And now, of course, this is the third time when it goes into alternate and disparate networks and passes the test of money. Good question.
Do you predict we'll still be reading the written word in 10 years' time?
But we what?
Reading the written word in 10 years.
Yes, yeah. I mean, one of the things we know is that everything that comes in new doesn't replace the old, it adds to the old. You think about what, we talk about the paperless office. During these heady Xerox years, of the 80s and 90s. You remember this, the paperless office. How close have we got? We've got more systems that can produce more paper than you can shake a stick at. So no, of course we'll still want to read the written word. We'll love, our growing styles as we our children move through, touch and visual and words. So we're still trained to do that. But I think our preferences will change. I think we'll read material for different reasons. We won't have time to read an awful lot of long works, probably. We'll choose to do that as a luxury. We'll want a synopsis by somebody we're following on Twitter, who shows you a 4-minute video that gets the essence of the issue across to you, while you're travelling nowhere because you're not going to go anywhere anymore, you're going to be in a virtual world. So, it is going to change the blend of the tools we use to absorb knowledge and entertain. But the word won't disappear then.
Just like the gentleman at the back.
What about our ability to cope with this? I mean, the technology is changing.
Yeah.
But we are human beings. What's our capability?
Well, yeah, no, that's a great question. It sounds like massive overload. But the good news is we're incredibly adaptable. If you think about where we've got to right now, I mean, in your and my career, we've gone from no technology in the home, and digital didn't exactly get that right, did it? So to massive technology in every aspect of our homes, and we just absorb it. And occasionally we give a bit of pushback towards it, when we have to embrace something the kids are embracing. We're trying to make the TV's Apple work with the other things. I've got 5 controllers in my living room to make the TV come on with sound. I just sit on one of them and I have to ring the kids up. I honestly don't know how to do it. I've been in IT my entire year. Of course, sometimes we get caught out, but tools are becoming simpler. So governments need elderly generations to use more technology because they are going all digital communication. Denmark has already mandated only digital communication in the next 4 years with its citizens, only digital. So tools like Simi, where you can talk to your devices, those are the clues to where we're going. You've got an Xbox, it's about gesture. We're making tools much easier to use and much more intuitive to use. So I think we'll find it even easier. And when it benefits us, we'll take the trouble to learn what it is. When it's imposed, we'll probably be a bit aggravated about it. But it's about value, isn't it? Value. I think we'll cope. We've done very well so far.